You don't belong here. Security, remove this vagrant before he contaminates the property. Marcus Webb grabbed Michael's messenger bag and ripped it open. Contents spilled across white marble, water bottle rolling, receipts scattering, reading glasses clattering to a stop. Webb planted his boot on the frames. Twisted. The lens cracked, then shattered under his weight. Prove you belong or I'm calling the cops. Behind Michael, Ashford Heights, Connecticut's premier gated community, $8.2 million average. Behind the woman filming on her phone, 3 more residents slowed their evening walk to watch. In front of Michael, the gate to 47 Meadowbrook Lane. His house. Purchased 14 months ago. $7.9 million cash. I'm 52 years old. Faded Stanford hoodie, worn jeans, 29-hour flight from Tokyo still in his bones. Have you ever been denied entry to a place you actually own? Because someone decided you didn't look the part? 3:42 p.m. 5 minutes earlier, Michael had approached the pedestrian gate beside the main vehicle entrance, punched in his 6-digit code. The keypad beeped red. Access denied. He frowned. They changed codes without notice again. 3rd time this year. He pressed the call button. A face appeared on the intercom screen. Marcus Webb, head of security. White, late 30s, military buzz cut, aviator sunglasses reflecting the afternoon sun. State your business. I live here. 47 Meadowbrook Lane. My access code isn't working. Webb's eyes traveled down the camera frame. No suit, no tie, no luxury car idling behind him. Just a man in a hoodie with a beat-up messenger bag. Which service are you with? I'm not with a service. I'm a resident. Michael Carter. Webb's partner appeared on screen. Danny Reeves, younger, stockier. Both men exchanged a look Michael had seen 1,000 times before. Reeves laughed. Resident? Man, you couldn't afford the monthly HOA fee here. Michael kept his voice level. Check your database. Michael J. Carter, 47 Meadowbrook Lane. I know every homeowner in Ashford Heights personally, Webb said. Never seen you. I travel frequently. Check the records. Show me ID first. Michael reached for his wallet. Webb's hand moved toward his belt. Slow. Michael produced his driver's license. Connecticut. Correct address. Handed it through the gap in the gate. Reeves snatched it. Studied it for 3 seconds. Fake ID. Good Photoshop, though. That's a valid... Save it. Webb's voice hardened. You've got 2 choices. Leave now, or we call Fairfield County Sheriff for trespassing. 15 feet behind Michael, Karen Whitmore stopped walking her Pomeranian. She recognized the opportunity, pulled out her phone, opened Instagram Live. You guys won't believe what's happening at our gate right now, she whispered to her screen. Viewer count, 23, 47, 89, 3:49 p.m. Michael remained still. His voice stayed calm, but something underneath it shifted, a frequency only certain people could hear. I'm asking you to verify my identity through proper channels. Call Ashford Heights Management. Diane Richardson handles my account. It's Saturday. The office is closed. Webb stepped through the pedestrian gate, entering Michael's space. And I'm done wasting time on con artists. Con artist? Michael's eyebrow lifted slightly. You show up dressed like that, no car, fake ID, trying to talk your way into one of the most expensive communities in Connecticut? Webb crossed his arms. We see this all the time. Thieves scope out neighborhoods, memorize addresses, make up stories. Reeves circled behind Michael, cutting off any retreat. Smart ones even print fake business cards, buy props. Michael opened his messenger bag slowly. Both guards tensed. He pulled out 3 items, set them on the stainless steel ledge beside the call button. First, ANA Airlines boarding pass. Tokyo Narita to JFK. Today's date. Seat 2A. Fare clearly printed, $9,400. Second, American Express Centurion card. Black titanium. The card required invitation and a $10,000 annual fee. Third, business card. Embossed lettering. Michael J. Carter, founder and CEO, Apex Global Industries. He said nothing. Let the evidence speak. Webb glanced at the items. His smirk didn't fade. Stolen credit card. Probably grabbed some businessman stuff at the airport. He picked up the business card, held it to the light mockingly. These? FedEx office prints them for $3. Michael's jaw tightened, the first micro-expression of frustration breaking through his composure. He checked his watch. Tag here Monaco. Worn leather strap. The kind of watch that cost $3,500 but looked modest enough that most people missed it. I've been traveling 29 hours. My phone died somewhere over the Pacific. I want to go home, shower, and sleep. Please verify my identity through your system. The system says you're not a resident, that's all I need to know. Karen's live stream hit 412 viewers. Comments scrolling faster now. Call the police. Why do they always try this? That Amex looks real, though? He's probably casing the neighborhood. Michael looked directly at Karen's phone camera, then back at Webb. You're making a mistake. Only mistake here is you thinking you could walk into Ashford Heights looking like... Reeves cut him off. Marcus, that watch. Webb waved him off. Fake. They make knockoffs of everything. 3:53 p.m. Michael's phone, still dead in his pocket, would have shown 17 missed calls. 12 from his executive assistant. 3 from his general counsel. 2 from board members wondering why he hadn't confirmed tomorrow's shareholder meeting. But Webb and Reeves didn't know that. They saw a black man in casual clothes. Their brains filled in the rest of the story automatically. Last chance, Webb said. Walk away or you're getting escorted in handcuffs. Behind them, more residents gathered. An older white woman in tennis whites. Brenda Hutchinson, HOA board president. A retired banker in polo shirt and khakis. Richard Palmer. A young woman in yoga pants holding a green juice. Ashley Morrison. Phone already recording. Within 90 seconds, 6 people formed a loose semicircle. All white or Asian. All staring at Michael like he was a specimen under glass. What's going on? Brenda called out. Gregory, is the community secure? Gregory Thornton pulled up in an HOA golf cart. Director of Operations. 51. Expensive navy suit despite it being Saturday. Bluetooth earpiece blinking. Situation? He asked Webb. Trespasser claiming he owns 47 Meadowbrook. Refuses to leave. Thornton stepped out, looked Michael up and down. His eyes stopped at the frayed hoodie cuffs, the worn sneaker soles, the 2-day stubble. Sir, I've managed Ashford Heights for 12 years. I personally approve every home purchase. His tone was patient, condescending, the voice people use with children or the confused elderly. I will remember you. March 17, 2024, 47 Meadowbrook Lane. Purchase price, $7.9 million. All cash offer through Apex Global Industries. Thornton's patient smile didn't waver. That property was purchased by a corporation, yes. Are you claiming to be founder and CEO? The smile became a barely suppressed laugh. The CEO of Apex Global is a prominent businessman. He wouldn't show up to his own home looking like this. Karen's live stream, 847 viewers. Michael checked his watch again. 3:56 p.m. You have about 15 minutes, he said quietly, before you lose everything. 3:58 p.m. Webb radioed for backup. 3 minutes later, a second golf cart arrived. This one carried the weight of institutional authority. Thornton walked toward Michael, each step measured, deliberate. He stopped 3 feet away, close enough to assert dominance, far enough to maintain the illusion of professionalism. Let me be very clear about something, Thornton said. His voice had that particular smoothness executives cultivate, the kind that sounds reasonable even when delivering threats. Ashford Heights has a zero-tolerance policy for security breaches. We have residents here worth hundreds of millions. Their safety is my personal responsibility. I'm one of those residents, Michael said. Then you'll understand why we take these precautions seriously. Thornton gestured at Michael's clothes like a lawyer presenting evidence. A man shows up on foot, no vehicle, dressed inappropriately, claiming to own premium property. You see how this looks. Inappropriately? Michael's voice stayed level, but something flickered in his eyes. Define that for me. Thornton hesitated for half a second. The other residents shifted their weight. Unprofessionally, Thornton corrected. The residents of Ashford Heights maintain certain standards. I see. Michael looked around at the gathering crowd. And these standards are about clothing? Or something else? The question hung in the air like smoke. Brenda Hutchinson stepped forward, tennis racket gripped like a prop of authority. This isn't about anything except security. We've had incidents. Last month, someone tried to impersonate a resident to gain access. We caught him because the staff stayed vigilant. Was he dressed unprofessionally too? Michael asked. He was suspicious. Like you're being suspicious right now. Suspicious how? Brenda's mouth opened. Closed. She looked to Thornton for help. Richard Palmer filled the silence. Look, friend, nobody's accusing you of anything. But you have to admit this situation is irregular. Just show us some proof you belong here and we can all move on. I showed my driver's license. It has this address. Which they explained could be fake, Richard said, his tone maddeningly reasonable. Surely you have something else? A utility bill? Property deed? Even a photo of yourself in the house? Michael's phone sat dead in his pocket. Every document existed in cloud storage he couldn't access. His home was 40 yards away, but it might as well have been on another planet. My identification should be sufficient, he said. Webb stepped closer. It's not. And your attitude isn't helping. My attitude? For the first time, edge crept into Michael's voice. I've been calm. I've been patient. I've provided identification and asked you to verify it through proper channels. What part of my attitude concerns you? The part where you're getting aggressive. I haven't moved. I haven't raised my voice. You're being confrontational, resistant. Michael looked at Webb for a long moment. I'm standing still and speaking at normal volume. You're the one who moved into my space. You're the one who destroyed my property. He gestured at the shattered glasses still on the ground. But somehow, I'm the aggressive one. Ashley Morrison, who'd been recording quietly, zoomed in on the broken frames. Her TikTok was already climbing. 892 viewers, 1,200, 1,500. Comments war erupted in real time. This is racial profiling 100%. He could be lying, though. Why doesn't he just call someone? That watch is real, I know watches. Apex Global Industries. Googling now. 4:03 p.m. More residents arrived. Todd and Jennifer Kim, both doctors, stood with their 2 children. Jennifer whispered something to her husband. He shook his head, but his expression showed doubt. Chase Buckley rolled up on his Harley-Davidson, helmet still on. Webb waved him through the vehicle gate without a word. No ID check. No questions. Chase pulled off his helmet inside the gate, saw the crowd, and paused. What's happening? Security situation, Brenda called out. Under control. Michael watched Chase ride through. Interesting. What's interesting? Thornton asked. Last month he entered with his face completely covered. No ID check. Today I show valid identification and get interrogated for 40 minutes. We know Chase. He's been here for years. You knew me too. You shook my hand at closing, told me, "Welcome to Ashford Heights, Mr. Carter." Conference room B. You wore a navy pinstripe suit. Your assistant Susan brought coffee. I had mine black, no sugar. Thornton's face went blank. His mouth opened slightly. You took a phone call during the meeting, Michael continued, his voice quiet but surgical. Something about a landscaping contractor dispute. You apologized for the interruption. The color drained from Thornton's face like water from a tub. Do you remember now? Michael asked. Or do I only become memorable when I'm wearing Tom Ford? Silence spread through the crowd like spilled ink. Jennifer Kim grabbed her husband's arm. Todd, this is wrong. Ashley's camera captured Thornton's frozen expression. Her viewer count hit 2,400. 4:09 p.m. Thornton recovered, but his voice had lost its smooth certainty. Mr. Carter, if this is legitimate, I apologize for the confusion. However, you must understand, security protocols exist for everyone's protection. Your unconventional appearance raised reasonable suspicion. Reasonable. Michael tasted the word. Let's test that. Chase just entered with his entire face covered. You waved him through. I show my face, my ID, and I get surrounded. What's the variable? Nobody answered. I've entered this gate 147 times in 14 months, Michael said. I dress like this every weekend. Never had a problem until 3 weeks ago. What changed? Webb and Reeves exchanged glances. New security contract, Michael said. You hired them recently. They don't know residents by face yet, only by appearance assumptions. Thornton pulled out his phone. I'm calling the sheriff. This has gone on long enough. Before you do that, Michael said, I want you to think very carefully about what happens next. Are you threatening me? I'm giving you information. After you make that call, 3 things happen. First, your new security guards lose their contracts and get blacklisted from every property Ashford Heights manages. Second, the HOA board holds an emergency meeting about your employment. Third, Ashford Heights revises its security protocols, implements bias training, and establishes new resident protection policies. Thornton's thumb hovered over his phone. You can't possibly... Or, Michael continued, his voice dropping to something colder, Apex Global Industries files a federal lawsuit under Fair Housing Act Title A8. We add personal suits for defamation, false imprisonment, and emotional distress. Discovery becomes very public. Local news covers it extensively. Your names trend on social media. Brenda scoffed. You can't prove discrimination. I can prove your security stopped a black homeowner for 47 minutes while waving a white resident through with his face covered. I can prove they dismissed valid identification without verification. I can prove they destroyed my property. Michael gestured at the glasses. And we have it all documented on multiple live streams from multiple angles. He looked directly at Ashley's camera, then at Karen's. How many people are watching right now? Ashley checked. 3,200 on mine. Karen's voice was smaller. 5,100. 8,000 witnesses, Michael said. Conservative estimate, accounting for screen recordings and shares, this reaches 1 million people by tonight. 2 million by Monday morning. The question isn't whether you discriminated. The question is whether you're smart enough to fix it before this gets worse. 4:13 p.m. Thornton stood frozen. Webb's hand drifted toward his body camera, an unconscious movement that everyone saw. Don't, Michael said sharply. Connecticut General Statutes Section 53A 155, tampering with physical evidence, Class D felony. The attempt to delete footage becomes evidence itself. Webb's hand dropped like he'd touched a hot stove. Richard Palmer cleared his throat. Perhaps we should all take a breath. Mr. Carter, if you're who you say you are, I'm not interested in if, Michael said. I have 3% battery left on a borrowed charger. Just enough for one phone call. After I make it, everything changes. For all of you. He held up his phone, somehow now powered on, the screen glowing. Who wants to find out what happens next? 4:13 p.m. Michael reached into his messenger bag. Every person in the semicircle tensed. Ashley's camera zoomed in. Karen adjusted her angle for better framing. He withdrew a leather portfolio, burgundy. embossed initials, MJC. The kind of portfolio that cost $400 but looked understated enough that most people missed the craftsmanship. Michael unzipped it slowly, the sound loud in the sudden silence. He removed a single sheet of paper, heavy cardstock, held it up so everyone could see. Ashley zoomed closer. Her phone's camera caught every detail. Ashford Heights, certificate of ownership, gold embossed logo at the top, formal letterhead running down both sides. Property address, 47 Meadowbrook Lane. Owner, Apex Global Industries. Agent, Michael J. Carter. Purchase. Date, March 17, 2024. Purchase price, $7,900,000. Transaction. Type, all cash offer. At the bottom, 2 signatures. One from the title company, one from the Director of Operations, Gregory Thornton's signature. Notary seal, raised stamp, official state authentication. Michael held the document steady, let the afternoon sun illuminate every word. Then he turned it toward Thornton. "Where did you get that?" Thornton's voice came out strangled. "From you. Closing day. You handed it to me personally, shook my hand. Said, 'Welcome to Ashford Heights, Mr. Carter. We're honored to have Apex Global as part of our community.'" Thornton's face had gone the color of old paper. "I processed dozens of closings. I can't remember every—" "Conference room B," Michael continued, his voice surgically precise. "March 17th, 2024, 2:15 p.m. You wore a navy pinstripe suit. Brioni, if I remember correctly. Your assistant Susan brought coffee. I had black, no sugar. You had a double espresso. You apologized twice for taking a phone call about some landscaping contractor who'd overcharged on spring planting." Thornton's mouth opened, closed. No sound came out. "You complimented my company's portfolio," Michael said. "Asked if we were expanding our real estate holdings in Connecticut. I said we were considering it. You gave me your personal cell number and said to call if we needed anything." Michael paused. Let that sink in. "Do you remember now? Or do I only become memorable when I'm wearing a $1,500 suit instead of a $20 hoodie?" The silence that followed had weight, physical presence. It pressed down on everyone like atmospheric pressure before a storm. Ashley whispered to her camera, "Oh my God. Oh my God. He's telling the truth." Her viewer count, 4,920. 4:15 p.m. Richard Palmer broke first. "Gregory?" Thornton didn't respond. His eyes stayed fixed on the certificate like it might dissolve if he blinked. Jennifer Kim grabbed her husband's arm. "Todd, we need to apologize." Brenda Hutchinson's voice came out defensive, brittle. "Now hold on. This doesn't prove—" Michael cut her off. Not rudely, just efficiently. "Here's what it proves, Ms. Hutchinson. At 3:42 p.m. today, I was denied entry to my legally owned property based solely on my appearance. At 3:53, 2 security officers dismissed my valid state identification as fake without any verification attempt. At 4:03, you suggested I was part of a criminal crew casing homes for burglary." He turned to Thornton. "At 4:09, you filed what will become a false police report, describing me as acting aggressive when body camera footage," he gestured at Webb's chest camera, "will show I remained stationary and spoke at normal volume for 47 minutes. Webb's hand drifted toward his body camera again, caught himself, stopped. "Connecticut law is very clear on tampering with evidence," Michael said. "Don't make this worse." Karen's live stream chat exploded. He owns the house." Security guard about to lose everything. This man said, "Brioni suit, I am deceased." Who is Apex Global Industries? Hold on. Someone Google the CEO right now. Several people in the crowd were already pulling out their phones, typing frantically. Chase Buckley, still straddling his Harley inside the gate, called out, "Greg, is this true? This guy actually lives here?" Thornton found his voice. It came out thin, ready. Mr. Carter, if this is all legitimate, then I sincerely apologize for the confusion. However, you must understand, security protocols exist for everyone's protection. Your unconventional appearance raised reasonable... Reasonable? Michael's voice dropped 20 degrees. Let's test that theory. He looked at Chase. Last month, you entered this gate wearing full motorcycle leathers, helmet completely covering your face, dark visor down. Security waved you through without asking for identification. No ID check, no questions. Why? Chase shifted uncomfortably on his bike. I mean, they know me. They knew me too, Michael said. I've entered this gate 147 times in 14 months. I always dress casually on weekends. Never had issues until 3 weeks ago when you hired new security. He turned back to Webb and Reeves. You don't recognize residents by face yet. You recognize them by assumptions. White man on an expensive motorcycle? Wave him through. Black man in casual clothes? Criminal until proven otherwise. Webb's jaw clenched. That's not... Save it. Michael's voice carried that quiet authority that comes from years of boardrooms and negotiations. I'm about to make one phone call. After that call, 3 things happen immediately. He held up one finger. First, both of you are terminated, effective immediately, and permanently banned from working for any property Ashford Heights manages. That's 183 communities across 7 states. Your security careers in the luxury property sector are over. Second finger. Second, Mr. Thornton, the HOA board convenes an emergency meeting to review your employment. You've just exposed Ashford Heights to significant legal liability. They'll want to discuss whether that's cause for termination. Third finger. Third, Ashford Heights corporate headquarters revises security protocols across all properties, implements mandatory bias training, and establishes new resident protection policies. This becomes a case study in how discrimination costs companies millions. Brenda's voice went high and tight. You can't prove discrimination. Michael reached into his bag again, pulled out his phone. 3% battery showing on the screen. 3 things prove it, Ms. Hutchinson. 1. Your security stopped me for 47 minutes while waving a white resident through with his face completely obscured. 2. They dismissed valid state identification without any verification attempt. 3. We have documented evidence from multiple angles, multiple live streams, and your own body cameras. He held up the phone. Right now, 8,000 people are watching this unfold in real time. Conservative estimate, accounting for screen recordings and shares, this reaches 1 million people by tonight, 2 million by Monday morning when every local news outlet picks it up. Ashley checked her analytics. I'm getting notifications from news accounts. Someone from Channel 8 just DM'd me asking for permission to use the footage. Michael looked at each person in the semicircle. His gaze moved slowly, deliberately, landing on each face for just long enough to be uncomfortable. The question isn't whether you discriminated, he said. The question is whether you're smart enough to fix it before this gets exponentially worse. 4:18 p.m. Thornton's hand shook slightly as he lowered his phone. He hadn't called the sheriff. Everyone noticed. What do you want? His voice came out defeated. I want systemic change, Michael said. Not revenge, not money. Change. He tapped his phone screen. The battery indicator dropped to 2%. I have enough power left for one call. After I make it, one of 2 things happens. Either Ashford Heights Corporate commits to comprehensive reform, or Apex Global Industries begins divestment proceedings and files federal discrimination charges. Divestment. Thornton's voice cracked on the word. Michael's expression didn't change. Apex Global currently holds $847 million in real estate assets across Ashford Heights communities nationwide. We own or lease 23 properties in your franchise. Our corporate contracts represent 4.7% of Ashford Heights' annual revenue. That's approximately $41 million per year. The number hung in the air like a grenade with the pin pulled. "So when I make this call," Michael said quietly, "people listen." He held up the phone one more time. "Last chance. Who wants to find out what one phone call can do?" Nobody moved. Michael dialed. 4:19 p.m. Michael put the phone on speaker. The dial tone rang once, twice. A voice answered, crisp and professional. "Apex Global Industries Executive Office. This is Patricia." "Patricia, it's Michael. I need an emergency conference call. 3 people. David Brennan at Ashford Heights Corporate. Jennifer Wu, our general counsel. Marcus Steele from Crisis Management." "Right away, sir. Connecting now." Thornton's face went from pale to gray. He leaned toward Webb and whispered, "David Brennan is the CEO of the entire Ashford Heights national franchise. He oversees 183 communities across 7 states. Brenda's eyes widened. The line clicked. 3 voices joined simultaneously. "Michael?" David Brennan's voice came through rough, impatient. 55 years old, built his career on luxury real estate, not used to weekend interruptions. "What's going on? I'm at my daughter's soccer game." "It's Saturday, Michael." Jennifer Wu, 40, sharp as broken glass. "This better be urgent." "I'm here." Marcus Steele, 38, smooth voice that had talked companies through oil spills and executive scandals. "Talk to me." Michael kept his eyes on Thornton while he spoke. "I'm standing outside my home in Ashford Heights, Connecticut. For the past 47 minutes, your staff has denied me entry, accused me of trespassing, destroyed my personal property, and filed a false police report. Currently, over 5,000 people are watching this on Instagram Live." Dead silence on the line, the kind that precedes explosions. "Put Thornton on now!" David's voice could have stripped paint. Michael held the phone toward Thornton. Thornton took it with shaking hands. "Sir, there was a misunderstanding. Mr. Carter arrived without proper... Did you or did you not prevent a verified resident from accessing his property?" "Technically, yes, but... Is Michael J. Carter the CEO of Apex Global Industries?" Thornton's voice barely carried. "Yes." "Jennifer." David's tone shifted to command mode. "Legal exposure?" Jennifer Wu's response came fast, precise. "Federal Fair Housing Act violation, clear-cut. Discrimination based on race in housing services. Civil Rights Act, Title 8. Penalties start at $150,000 for the first offense, unlimited if we establish a pattern. Compensatory damages, punitive damages, injunctive relief. The Civil Rights Attorney's Fees Award Act means we pay his legal costs plus our own. Connecticut state claims add another layer. Conservative estimate, 7 figures for settlement. Trial could hit 8 figures with reputational damage factored." Marcus Steele jumped in. "Social media nightmare in progress. Trending hashtag potential is extreme. Video of black CEO blocked from mansion. Every outlet runs it. CNN, MSNBC, Fox. They'll all cover different angles, but same story. Stock price impact for the parent company. Advertiser pressure. We'd need full crisis protocol, public apology, immediate policy overhaul, executive resignations, third-party diversity audit. Budget to contain this, 3 to 5 million, minimum." Michael let them absorb that. Then he spoke, voice calm as standing water. "David, want the actual numbers? Apex Global Industries currently holds $847 million in real estate assets across Ashford Heights communities nationwide. We own or lease 23 properties in your franchise. Our corporate contracts represent 4.7% of Ashford Heights' annual revenue, approximately $41 million. He heard David's sharp intake of breath through the speaker. "That's not a threat," Michael continued. "That's the context. Here's the threat. I want systemic change, not individual punishment. You implement reforms across all Ashford Heights properties nationwide, or Apex divests completely. We relocate our executives to competitor communities. We issue a public statement explaining exactly why. Your franchise loses its flagship corporate client, suffers PR catastrophe, and becomes a case study in business schools about how discrimination kills profits. What reforms? David's voice had shifted. He was listening now. 4:22 p.m. Michael had been thinking about this for 47 minutes. He'd had time to plan. 7 requirements, non-negotiable. Jennifer, you're recording for a legal record? Yes. 1. Mandatory implicit bias training for all security staff across every property. Quarterly refreshers. Third-party certification required. Anyone who fails doesn't work. He paused. Let that sink in. 2. Resident verification protocol revision. ID checks must follow standardized procedures regardless of appearance. Random audits with secret shoppers. Monthly compliance reports. Ashley's camera caught everything. Her viewers had climbed to 6,200. Comments scrolled faster than anyone could read. 3. Body camera footage preservation. 90 days minimum. Independent server storage, not local. Tamper-proof. Any attempt to delete or modify triggers automatic investigation. Webb's face had gone slack. He knew what was coming. 4. Community liaisons. Each Ashford Heights property hires a diversity officer reporting directly to corporate, not local management. They handle biased complaints and conduct quarterly resident surveys. Brenda started to object. Richard put a hand on her arm, shook his head. 5. Anonymous bias reporting hotline. Residents and staff can report discrimination without fear of retaliation. Third-party service, not internal. Reports go straight to corporate and legal. Michael's voice never wavered. Each word landed with the weight of contract language. 6. Public transparency. Annual diversity metrics published on your website. Demographic data of residents versus security stop rates. Complaint resolutions. Training completion rates. Full accountability. Jennifer Wu made a sound that might have been approved. That'll set an industry standard. 7. Financial accountability. Any staff members substantiated for bias-based violations? Immediate termination. No severance package. Industry-wide blacklist. You make discrimination expensive. Silence on the line. Michael could hear a soccer game in the background of David's call. Children cheering. Normal Saturday afternoon sounds. Finally, David spoke. That's comprehensive. Implementation deadline 90 days. I want a written plan in 30 days. Apex Legal reviews it. If approved, we expand our relationship. Purchase 5 more properties in your communities. If rejected or incomplete, we begin divestment proceedings October 1st. Michael. Jennifer Wu's voice carried something like admiration. This becomes a template. Other corporations will adopt it. You're changing the industry. That's the point. Change one community, you help 800 families. Change the industry, you protect millions. 4:26 p.m. David Brennan exhaled slowly. You have my commitment. I'll fly to Connecticut Monday morning. We'll meet in person, draft a formal agreement. Accepted. Now, Gregory Thornton's employment status? Thornton closed his eyes. Gregory. David's voice carried the weight of 20 years of business relationship. You're suspended pending investigation, effective immediately. Surrender your access credentials, keys, and company devices. Michael's attorney will receive formal notification within 1 hour. David, I've worked for Ashford Heights 12 years. And in 47 minutes, you nearly cost us our largest corporate client and exposed us to federal lawsuit. We'll discuss severance after the investigation. Expect disciplinary board hearing within 72 hours. Thornton's hand dropped to his side. The phone nearly slipped from his fingers. Michael took it back. Webb, Reeves, you're both terminated, effective now. Ashford Heights security contractors will receive notice within the hour. Webb's face flushed red. You can't do this. We followed protocol. You followed assumptions, Michael said. Protocol would have been verify ID, call management, check database, offer temporary visitor pass while confirming. You dumped my belongings and destroyed my property. That's not protocol, that's a power trip. Reeves stepped forward. We'll fight this. Our union. Your contract is at-will employment. Jennifer Wu's voice cut through the speaker. No union protections. Connecticut is an at-will state. Termination for cause is legal when an employee creates liability. You created massive liability. Additionally, destruction of Mr. Carter's eyeglasses constitutes criminal mischief under Connecticut general statutes. He can press charges. I'm not pressing charges, Michael said, but you're both on notice. Every security firm in Fairfield County will know about this. Good luck. Webb and Reeves removed their badges, handed them to Thornton, walked toward their vehicle without another word. The crowd parted to let them through. 4:28 p.m. Michael ended the call, pocketed his phone. I looked at the remaining crowd. Does anyone else have questions? Nobody spoke. He walked toward the gate, punched in the override code he'd had access to the entire time. The gate opened. 4:28 p.m. Michael stepped through the gate. For the first time in 47 minutes, he stood on his own property. He turned back. I looked at the crowd still frozen on the other side. Karen had ended her live stream. Final count, 8,340 viewers. The video was already being downloaded, screen recorded, shared across platforms. Within an hour, it would appear on Reddit, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. By Monday morning, local news vans would park outside Ashford Heights asking for interviews. But that was the future. Right now, Michael has unfinished business. Thornton stood beside the gate, holding his badge and keys like they were physical representations of his imploding career. 12 years. Gone in less than an hour. Mr. Carter. His voice came out hollow. I genuinely apologize. I should have verified. I should have remembered you. You should have treated me like a human being regardless of whether you remembered me, Michael said. His voice stayed level, but the words cut clean. That's the problem, Gregory. Respect shouldn't require recognition. Thornton nodded slowly. His hand trembled as he placed his badge and keys on the stainless steel ledge beside the call button. He walked to his golf cart, didn't look back. The electric motor hummed as he drove away, getting quieter until it disappeared. 4:30 p.m. Brenda Hutchinson approached the gate. Her tennis racket hung loose in her hand, like she'd forgotten she was holding it. Mr. Carter. She stopped 3 feet from the gate. What I said was inexcusable. I made assumptions based on... Her voice faltered. Based on what? Michael asked. Not hostile, genuinely asking. Long pause. Brenda's eyes were wet. Your appearance, your clothing, and your skin color. The words came out ragged. I didn't want to think about it, but seeing your reaction, I realized I saw a black man in casual clothes, and my brain jumped to threat. I'm ashamed. Michael studied her for a moment. I appreciate your honesty. That took courage. It shouldn't have taken courage. It should have been my first thought. Brenda wiped her eyes. What do I do with this shame? Transform it. Attend the bias training when it's offered. Call out other residents when they make similar assumptions. Teach your children better. Michael paused. Shame is useless unless it becomes action. Brenda nodded. I will. I promise. Richard Palmer stepped forward next. Michael. Can I call you Michael? Yes. I stayed silent when I should have spoken up. That makes me complicit. Richard's voice was steady, but his expression showed real discomfort. I told myself I was being neutral, staying out of it. But there's no neutral when someone's being treated unjustly. I'm sorry. Apologies start, not finish, Michael said. Action is what matters. Jennifer Kim came forward with her husband and children. We're sorry too. This was wrong on every level. Her daughter, maybe 8 years old, looked up at Michael. Why were they mean to you? Jennifer started to pull her back. Michael held up a hand. Because sometimes people make quick decisions about others based on how they look instead of who they are, he said to the girl. It's not right, but it happens. That's not fair, the girl said. You're correct. It's not fair. That's why we're going to change it. Chase Buckley had dismounted his Harley. He approached slowly, helmet under his arm. I've been waved through dozens of times without ID. Never thought about why. He looked uncomfortable. That privilege, I never earned it. Just had it. I'm sorry, man. You can't control what privilege you're born with, Michael said. But you can control what you do with it. Use it to speak up. That's all anyone can ask. 4:33 p.m. Ashley was still recording. She'd switched to her regular camera now, not live stream. Mr. Carter, I'm posting this entire interaction, with your permission. The world needs to see what happened and how you handled it. Post it, Michael said, but add context. This isn't about individual villains. It's about systems that condition us to see some people as suspicious and others as safe based on packaging. Change the system, you change outcomes. Ashley nodded, already typing notes in her phone. Karen approached last. Her Pomeranian had long since gotten bored and was sniffing the grass. I started that live stream thinking I was documenting a security incident, she said quietly. I didn't realize I was documenting discrimination. I'm sorry I contributed to your humiliation. You documented evidence, Michael said. Without that video, this becomes he said, she said. You gave me leverage, unintentionally, but still. Karen looked surprised. I never thought of it that way. Most people don't think about the power of documentation until they need it. One of the residents, a younger man Michael didn't recognize, called out, Why didn't you just use the override code from the beginning? You had access the whole time, right? Michael turned to face him fully. Because I shouldn't have to. The override code is for emergencies, locked out after midnight, medical crisis, fire. Not for proving my humanity. He paused. If I'd used it immediately, the problem wouldn't be exposed. Systems don't change when we work around them. They change when we force them to confront their failures. The young man absorbed that, nodded slowly. 4:35 p.m. Michael picked up his broken glasses from the ground. One lens shattered completely, frame bent. He looked at them for a moment, then pocketed them. These cost $300, he said to no one in particular. But that's not why they matter. They matter because someone thought destroying them would put me in my place, though making me pick up my scattered belongings off the ground would teach me I don't belong. He looked up at the crowd. The lesson they actually taught is why documentation matters, why witnesses matter. Why can't we stay silent when we see injustice, especially, when it's not happening to us? He turned toward his house, paused. I looked back one more time. Ashford Heights will change, not because I'm rich, not because I threatened lawsuits, but because discrimination is expensive. It costs companies money. It costs communities safety. It costs individuals dignity. When you make the cost high enough, people change the system. He walked up his driveway, past the rose bushes he'd planted himself, Queen Elizabeth on the left, golden celebrations on the right, past the irrigation system he'd installed because the eastern exposure dried them out. His house, his home, always had been. He just had to prove it. 3 months later, a consultant reviewed progress reports with Michael over video call. The numbers told a story. Gate stop disparities down 71% across all 183 properties. 0 discrimination complaints filed, down from 47 the previous quarter. Security staff satisfaction increased because clearer guidelines protected them from liability. Corporate client retention increased 8% because companies saw Ashford Heights as progressive partner. "How are residents feeling?" Michael asked. Anonymous surveys show 94% of Black residents report feeling safer and more respected compared to 6 months ago. Michael smiled. First genuine smile in months. He'd framed the broken glasses. They hung in his office now, not as a trophy, as a reminder. Dignity isn't about avoiding confrontation. It's about transforming confrontation into progress. December, 6 months later. The reforms didn't just happen on paper. They happened in practice. Ashford Heights implemented the Resident Dignity Protocol across all properties. Every security officer carried laminated pocket cards with 12-point verification checklists. Appearance-based profiling became grounds for immediate termination. No exceptions. No second chances. They launched a new resident app, QR code verification, instant identity confirmation. But more importantly, the app tracked every gate interaction. Who got stopped? Who got waved through? Demographic data collected automatically, analyzed monthly. Statistical anomalies flagged for investigation. When the first report showed disparities, corporations didn't hide it. They published it publicly, committed to eliminating the gap within 18 months. 12 competitor franchises adopted similar policies voluntarily. Not because they were ethical, because they were terrified of becoming the next viral video. Michael received over 600 LinkedIn messages in the first month, half from Black professionals sharing their own stories of being questioned, followed, dismissed, half from companies requesting consulting on inclusive culture. He launched the Executive Equity Project, free legal defense fund for professionals facing housing or workplace discrimination. Apex Global matched donations 2-to-1. First-year fundraising, $2.7 million. Brenda Hutchinson became an unexpected ally. She volunteered for the Diversity Committee and used her HOA board position to push inclusive policies. She and Michael developed mutual respect built on her willingness to change. Ashley's video hit 12.4 million views across platforms. It spawned a hashtag #DignityNotDress. 40-plus similar stories emerged. Executives of color sharing their experiences. The conversation expanded beyond one gate, one community, one incident. What Michael didn't do, he didn't shout, didn't threaten violence, didn't demand instant firings based on emotion, didn't accept apologies and walked away, didn't use wealth to humiliate for revenge. What Michael did do, he stayed calm, documented everything, used evidence systematically, leveraged economic power strategically, not for personal gain, but systemic reform, built a coalition, demanded measurable change with clear metrics and deadlines, thought beyond personal vindication to community protection. He turned an individual crisis into an industry-wide transformation. 1 year later, Michael testified before the Connecticut State Legislature. The proposed bill, Resident Protection Act. It required bias training for all private security in gated communities, mandatory body cameras, independent oversight boards, public reporting of demographic data. The bill passed with bipartisan support. 6 other states introduced similar legislation within 90 days. The deeper victory, Michael didn't just win access to his home. He didn't just get people fired. He rewired an entire system, security protocols, corporate policies, cultural norms, so the next Black executive, the next Latino contractor, the next Asian delivery driver wouldn't face the same humiliation. Revenge is temporary satisfaction. Reform has a generational impact. From a later interview, Michael explained his philosophy. They tried to make me small. I responded by thinking bigger. They saw one man in a hoodie. I saw 183 communities with flawed systems. They wanted me gone. I wanted everyone protected. That asymmetry, their smallness versus my expansiveness, is how you win permanently. Your turn. Stories like Michael's happen every day, not always at mansion gates. Sometimes at retail stores where staff follow black shoppers through every aisle, airports where TSA randomly selects brown passengers repeatedly, office buildings where security demands ID from employees of color but waves white colleagues through, restaurants where hosts seat certain customers near bathrooms or kitchens, neighborhoods where residents call police on black people who don't belong. The question isn't whether this happens. The question is, what will you do when you witness it? Will you stay silent, make excuses, record and share, speak up immediately, examine your own biases? Michael's story teaches us, document everything. Video, witnesses, timestamps matter. Truth needs evidence. Stay calm, think strategically. Anger is valid, but strategy is powerful. Michael won because he outthought them, not outshouted them. Demand systems change, not just apologies. Individual remorse fades. Policy reforms protect everyone who comes after. Use your privilege to amplify. If you're the one who gets waved through, acknowledge it. Use that platform to advocate for those who don't have it. Small actions compound. One video sparked reform across 183 communities. Your comment, your share, your willingness to speak up in the moment, it matters. Take action now. Drop a comment below. Have you or someone you know experienced being judged, blocked, or dismissed based on appearance? Share your story. Let's build a record that this isn't isolated. It's systemic. Share this video. Tag 3 friends who need to see this. Use #DignityNotDress and Black Voices Uncut. Visibility creates accountability. Subscribe to Black Voices Uncut. We share stories of resilience, resistance, and reform. Stories where intelligence triumphs over ignorance, where strategy beats stereotype, where one person's courage becomes community transformation. Challenge yourself this week. Notice your own assumptions. When you see someone and make instant judgments about who they are, what they can afford, where they belong, pause. Ask yourself, what am I basing this on? Would I think differently if they looked different? To everyone watching, your dignity is not up for debate. Your presence is not suspicious. Your success is not accidental. When the world tries to shrink you, expand anyway. When they deny you entry, change the entire entrance system. Silence is a choice. Neutrality supports the status quo. As Michael said, respect shouldn't require recognition. Treat people like people. It's not complicated.
At Black Voices Uncut, we don't polish away the pain or water down the message. We tell it like it is because the truth deserves nothing less. If today's story spoke to you, click like, join the conversation in the comments, and subscribe so you'll be here for the next Uncut Voice.